Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Charity Elaine, and if you're new here, we talk all things business and entrepreneurship. And I wanted to talk to you today about how I failed my inspection. I'm not even going to leave that to the end. As you all know, I was renovating one of the houses that I bought. One of my businesses is to buy houses, we renovate them, and either we sell them or we rent them out. And this one was the renovation from hell. This was probably one of the biggest projects that I did because it needed the most amount of stuff done. It needed literally everything done. I did not rip it down to the studs, but I probably should have. I let you all see the house in a previous video, but the house still it it doesn't look as nice as I want it to look. For this house, there were so many things that needed to be done, and I went over, I had a whole checklist. I went and printed out all of the inspection details like I usually did, and I thought we were going to be ready for this inspection, but I was wrong. There are so many things that I probably should have done differently in hindsight. And when the guy was there and he's pointing everything out to me, I'm like, oh, I probably should have done that. I'm just going to tell you a couple of the big things that I did. And I do have an inspection checklist down below for you, just so that you don't have the issues that I had. And it literally goes like from the first one to the last one, like what you should do. I'm just going to go over some of the top things that we got wrong, and I'll try to put a couple pictures to see if I can find any. But, and I have the list right here that I'm looking at. But the smoke, our attic is actually big enough to be a separate space, which I wasn't sure that it met the requirements, but I guess it does. But I'm not going to make it a separate space because I would need to have a separate walkway or entrance for it, and I'm not doing that. Too much work. But it's very big. I didn't know that it needed the smoke detector that it needs up there, because we have a smoke detector and the CO2 in the main room, but the attic needs a smoke detector too because it's so big and it can be a separate space. I have to do that. I have to fix a lot of the windows in the attic and around the place because, as you all know, windows are so expensive. Anything that I could use that was already there, I tried to, but one of the windows in the attic is so bad that I guess he saw that it was rotting on the outside, which I didn't actually even catch. But when I went up there, I said, oh, that is bad on the outside. That needs to be fixed. One of the things you probably should do is try to get all new windows because it helps. But in order to keep the cost down on this project, because I had already paid so much to even get this house up and running, I did not want to do all the windows, but you need to check all of the windows. We also have a couple of spaces that just weren't sealed properly. Like in the basement, we had around one of the areas that has the washer and dryer. It had I guess like a hole, and he said that there should not be a hole anywhere where, fire can get through. So we have to go and caulk and seal a lot of the spaces and it's just like a small hole. And another one is the bathroom, the water tank in the back has like a hole too, but that's like a super small hole you can't really see. But he wants everything to pretty much be sealed off the best that it can. And one of the biggest things that needed to be done is the electrical work. There are different regulations here, but I guess anything that needs water has to have a GFCI outlet, and the one in our laundry room in the basement, because it was on the ceiling, I didn't think it needed a GFCI outlet, but it does. We have to put one there, and a couple of our electrical outlets upstairs I left the same wiring that was in the previous house because it would have cost me like so much more to fix all of that wiring, but they're not grounded correctly. I guess, back when the house like 18 years ago was made, it was made a lot longer than that, but they didn't need the type of wiring that we need now. I really should have just went through and like redid all of the wiring, or at least made sure some of the wiring met like the specifications, the new specifications, but I did not. So we have to go now and redo the wiring in a lot of the spaces upstairs that we did not do to make sure that they're grounded and they meet all of the specifications. So the basement is perfect because all of the wiring was new because there was no wiring or anything down there. I basically rewired that completely, but the top part was already wired and the wiring was pretty good, but I guess it just didn't meet the requirements that now the wiring has to meet. That was a big problem on our inspection. And then there were a lot of like small things that like the electrical covers were loose, which I should have double checked. But like I said, I made a checklist for you all just so that you can know the order that things need to go in. And one of the things that I will say that you definitely need to do is when you start your project, do the electrical work and do the plumbing work like immediately. Check all you because I ended up needing to pay a lot of money to redo some of the plumbing work because I thought a lot of the plumbing was good, but it was not. You need to just strip it down, do the plumbing, do the electrical work, and then start working on the rest of the building. But that is my little rant for that. We failed. I'm going to work on getting all of the stuff together and I'll let you know how it goes.